It is dark, and I am riding home. Just leaving school. It is 6:19. Already called home and said, hey, I'm going to be a little late. But stayed late doing music club. Taught some kids how to make a podcast. Very excited by that today. And it's really late. I usually start going to bed about 8. And I thought, I'm not going to feel up to making a stream tonight. So if you don't make a stream on the bike on your way home, at least give it a shot. You're probably not going to make one. So we had a lot of fun learning how to make podcasts today. I told the kids, and I kind of mentioned this in my short, that yours truly has spent a lot of money and got a lot of equipment over the years, and I didn't even know how to use most of it. I had to buy it and make mistakes. You guys tell me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like to me that around 2005, even around 2010, wasn't until about 10 years ago that you could get on YouTube and figure out how to do anything. I remember looking through this stuff in Musician's Friend and just really having a hard time figuring out, what is this? What does it do? You could go in a music store, I guess, but you always kind of had this feeling in the music store like they were judging you for not already knowing what all this was, and you're kind of wasting their time. How I felt, at least. Maybe I'm just hypersensitive about stuff, but it was a good feeling to be able to set up all the equipment in real time. I had people in the past who I had teachers that, were into recording or whatever and would be like, yeah, you should get this microphone or you should, but they wouldn't actually bring the equipment in and set it up and show me literally how to do it. No one did that. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it for some kids. I opened up the wallet and got the equipment. I get a stipend for it, but still kind of going above and beyond. And I'm proud of myself. I think it's a really valuable thing. I'm literally trying to be the teacher that I wish I had when I was in school. And that feels really good. It feels really good to, see a younger version of myself, someone with high verbal IQ and wants to make a podcast, and I'm able to set them down and show them in less than an hour how to do it. That feels really cool. And it's really rewarding. Great feeling. But I told them after we got it done and we set up the mics and talked in the headphones, that's a great feeling to talk to somebody if you've never done that before, through a great mic, through a compressor, let's see who's talking to me. Gabby Coleman. Hi, what are you doing? I'm riding my bike home. Somebody else who's a good talker, you just kind of settle into this rhythm. You hit a flow state is what the student said. And it sounds like a podcast. It's very cool. But anyway, I told them when we were done that the exciting part of it, or the important part to me about teaching, is so often you'll have a teacher in a subject. Maybe it's not as important in science or math, although I kind of think this is important in every subject. Because what are you doing with science and math? Ultimately, you're trying to do something creative or encouraging with it, something to make the world a better place. And there's a lot of teachers that they'll show you how to do something, but the emotional support is not there. And to me, it would be because sometimes those teachers actually do the opposite of emotional support. They'll make a little sly comment to you, or, maybe they'll grade your paper harshly in a way that you didn't feel was fair. And the power dynamic is really off. I mean, it's really not equal, especially like as a teenager. You're trying to develop your own identity. You feel like you may have gifts in this area or that area, but certain teachers encourage you and recognize those gifts. Other teachers don't. And it's hard to know what to believe about yourself. So to me, after we finished all the technical side of it, I was like, the most important part of this, guys, is to know that not to be afraid to make this and put it out there. I was like, they had all these plans for their podcast. And I was like, you can absolutely do all these plans for your podcast. The most important part of all of this, though, is that you are going to make 100 episodes that probably barely anybody will listen to. Your mom, your friend, and your cat. And you got to upload those. Put them out there. Sober natural. Hey, that cool. Yeah, sober natural. You got to make them and put them out there. That's the part. And that's the emotional part that I feel a lot of teachers miss. And honestly, in a way, it might be better off that they didn't teach the kid anything. Because if they're going to emotionally mess them up somehow with some comment or some form of criticism where they felt like, well, I'm just trying to help them be a better writer or whatever. From someone who has won a bunch of writing awards, I don't think any teacher ever being hateful in a comment made me a better writer. If anything, it kind of gave me a complex. Other people might say, well, maybe you were just too sensitive. Other people respond really well to, okay. Alex loves football. Thanks for stopping by. I just don't think so. I think you got to be encouraging. And people can just tell if you believe in them or if you don't. And I think it's helpful to be a person who is struggling through sharing themselves in that way and putting it out there in real time to encourage somebody else to do the same. I think that's really important to any creative work across the humanities, because it reminds me of like when I was 5 years old in a Baptist church and, I wanted to be saved. Everyone around me was telling me I had to be saved or I would go burn in hell forever. And I went up and asked to be saved. And they told me, no, you're not quite old enough yet. We don't think you understand everything that we're saying. I was a pretty sharp kid. I sat there and listened to horrible visions of hell for another year until they let me in. Now, I've had older church friends tell me, like, well, that shouldn't have happened to you. And, those people didn't know. At 5 years old, what are you going to believe? And it's the same when you're 15. A teacher's words can really, really hurt and mess up people in a way to where maybe if they hadn't been there at all, it would have been more beneficial. So I'm trying to be that, teach you how to do it, but also encourage the kids to, sounds cliche, but believe in themselves and use the haters for fuel. If you can't do that, then all the rest doesn't matter, because you can be the best at something in the world and you can end up like Kafka and throwing it in a fire before you die, hoping no one sees it. Alex, I'm trying to get saved and you're an amazing teacher. Well, I hope you find the path, brother. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for encouraging me. I hope I encourage you. And I don't know what this channel is becoming. Sometimes I'm ranting about Maduro. Sometimes I'm telling you hot crypto. A lot of the time, I'm just going to encourage you to not give up. And Lord knows we can use all those channels we can get, right? I know I could. I'm glad I encouraged you, Alex. You encourage me. All you guys encourage me for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And I love you. Unlike, unsubscribe. Ways to support the channel in the description, but we're all broke, so don't worry about it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Peace out. Thanks, Alex. I saw that, man. It means a lot. You're a real one. Get some good rest tonight, guys. Everybody in this small town staring at me as I talking to my phone on my bike right next to the courthouse. Hey, lean into the embarrassment, people. How great things are made. If you don't humiliate yourself in public, doesn't matter what skills you got, because that's the only way people are going to find you. If you wait until you're perfect to share it, if you're like me, probably never going to share it. Put it out there and grow this thing. Say it over and over. Love y'all. Peace out. See you tomorrow.